Awesome. Okay. Cool.
Hi.
Hello. Angel actually knows we're recording this time instead of thinking that I'm a crazy person talking to myself. So if you haven't listened to the latest if you haven't listened to the latest Sponsorship Underground episode, then the intro to that is pretty hilarious.
Yep.
Cool. So we just got back from a week, like a whole week at Brushy Mountain Motorsports Park, hanging out with Tyler and the crew. That was a really great time, actually.
Yeah,
I know that.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we were a little nervous coming into the week because the weather was very doom and gloom, in addition to Nick being injured.
Yep.
It was a big conversation about how we were going to handle the weekend. We ended up flying out Coach Sam last minute, which was bananas trying to pay for that plane ticket.
No. I think paying for it was the easiest part. Trying to figure out. Do you want to explain the fiasco with what happened with the tickets?
I actually forgot about that. So, the night before we were supposed to fly out, somebody mentioned it. I think it was Sam, but I'm not 100% certain.
Zach asked us,
"Oh,
are we flying out Monday or Tuesday?"
Yeah, because I had been saying Monday all the time, and so the person who was meeting us in California, Zach from Carolina Dirt Bike Rental, sent me a message and he goes, "Hey, you keep saying Monday."
You said California.
Carolina Dirt Bike Rentals.
I thought you said California. Anyway, continue.
He said, "Hey, lately you've been saying Monday, but my calendar says Tuesday. So which day is it?" And I was like, "Oh, well, all of the stuff says Monday. Like I got Sam's plane ticket for Monday. But it's just whatever's in my planner, because my planner is right. And my planner said Tuesday." And I went into full panic mode. And immediately, like, Sam's just sitting there laughing his ass off.
It's like, I'm going to get there. He's going to have nowhere to stay. No way to get anywhere from the airport.
And I immediately messaged Spirit Airlines, and I messaged my credit union because somehow we spent enough money through the clinics this year to get all of us free flights. But not the bags, which was over $670 to check all of our bags both ways, which is bananas. But that's beside the point. So, like, messaged a whole bunch of people trying to figure out, like, who's going where, what flights are happening. Finally got on the phone with somebody, and she pulled up the order, and she's like, "I don't understand what you're asking me. I've got 2 flights here. But which one do you want to move? You want them on separate days?" And I was like, no, I want them on the same day. And she goes, "Well, they're both for Tuesday. So," and what had happened was when I looked at the flight tickets, we leave on Tuesday and we come back on Monday. So I saw Monday on the return and panicked and thought that Sam was leaving on Monday and that we were leaving on Tuesday. And then something else happened too, where I panicked about the return. Like I thought that I booked us like a next day return. It was a mess. I can't be put in charge of these things anymore. But it's all good. Everybody got where they were supposed to go, and there was absolutely zero reason for panic in the first place because nothing was actually wrong. It was all made up.
Yes, it was all anxiety. That's all it was. It was fake. Yeah. Oh my God, it was kind of great to be a part of that. That panic. She was just like, "What?" We're like, "Oh, Sam, you're gonna fly out by yourself and just hang out for a little bit." I was like, poor guy. But we made it out there, and other than our bags getting lost, not just our bags, the entire plane's bags did not show up to the baggage claim area for like an hour and a half after our plane arrived. Our flight was not on any of the screens or anything. So we were like, how did they lose the entire flight bags? But it was literally an hour and a half that we were just sitting there waiting, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. But we found them. We learned that flying for dirt bikers across the country is not only expensive, but it's a lot of stuff to carry.
Yeah, and it's also really hilarious because Sam doesn't fit in the seats.
Oh my God, yes. We've got video. Poor Sam. Sam is like, what, 6'2"?
I want to say he's somewhere between 6'2" and 6'4".
He's tall. We'll say he's 6'3". So, but he's gigantic, and he's sitting in the seat next to me, and like his knees are like pushed right up, and he's all like scrunched, and I'm like, look at this room.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. He actually Googled while he was sitting there in the plane with his knees in somebody else's back. And it shows that Spirit actually shrank their seats on their new planes. The seats now only have 16 inches of legroom. So
and they used to have 18.
Yeah,
so.
something like that. But
Yeah.
The whole thing was real wacky.
But then we got out there and we got to Brushy, and it was awesome. We started every day out with Tyler telling us some sort of story, and we failed to get a Tyler story on camera.
I think I got one, actually.
Did you?
I think so.
Oh, sweet. Because whenever we would pull out the camera, he'd be like, I don't remember. He's a little camera shy. But it was super awesome. And then he had this super adorable little puppy.
Oh my gosh.
He breeds these
mountain feist.
Yeah, it's an Appalachian breed, and just like almost like a rat terrier, but cuter and thinner and like crazier. But yeah, Mama was absolutely just the sweetest. Although she had some issues.
I was here for the puppy.
What did Mom do on your lap?
Oh, yeah, she was real farty.
Catherine just goes, ugh.
Real farty.
The mom was laying on her lap.
I forgot about that too. Yeah, it was just she could make your legs shake. It was intense. Yeah. It was. I didn't know something so little could be so like volatile.
Yeah, Mom was like maybe this tall. Like she is little, just this little thing. But the puppy, oh my god, it was 8 weeks old, and it was like this tall. It was just adorable. It was just running around everywhere, and it would start following you. It followed me like everywhere. It was, oh my god, so cute.
Definitely will follow you in the bathroom.
Yeah, 100%. It followed me in the bathroom, and Catherine walked in, and I was just holding the puppy up to her face. But yeah, it was super cool. So we had a couple days to just kind of like ride and check out where they were going to be doing clinic stuff, where we wanted to like take people. We got to have some fun in the mud.
If you haven't had a chance to check out Leaky Mushroom's Instagram page yet, you should, because there's a video going up of Tyler going, yeah, it's the warm-up, and then it's showing very clearly not a warm-up.
It's so funny because Tyler always is like, oh, that's not so bad. And then it was raining, and there was this like waterfall coming down the hill. I mean, it's a pretty legit hill climb in my opinion. I mean, I'm not really experienced with those, but it's pretty gnarly. And,
it's a motocross jump. Still pretty nasty, but it's a motocross jump.
It's gigantic.
It is huge.
He calls it Big Red, but yeah. So he was the first one to go up, like right when it first started raining that day. And he made it up, and it was all cool. And then Catherine tried to go up it, and it was all slippy because then that was when the waterfall was starting, and she had some fun. I think.
So basically what happened is it's a red clay base, but it had all of the like nasty decomposed leaves and stuff on top. So Tyler got all of that nasty decomposed like loamy stuff, and he spun it all out while he went up that first time and carved a waterfall into the side of the hill, exposing all of that barren red clay. And then it was my turn to go up, and then I just carved out more of that red clay since I came to a stop at a standstill. You know, when your tire is spinning forward, but you're sliding backwards, and there's a whole process. So then Tyler comes up to my rescue and then tries to do it himself. And
yeah, then he tried to do it. And oh my God, he actually ended up hurting his arm. We think that it happened in that fall. But he's Tyler. He's going to bounce back. He's fine.
Yeah. Tyler's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. We're not worried about him. But yeah, no, it was a super good time. I love the fact that we have like a home away from home. I mean, I'm kind of like doing that here in California, but I've got all kinds of homes all over the country now. But it's super cool that those guys, I mean, they love us, we love them. We're super excited. We go back at the end of next month for Battle of the Goats for the hard enduro,
Woohoo!
which I'm super stoked for because as of this moment, I have never been to a hard enduro in person. So I'm really excited to see it. I might be going to Grinding Stone here in a couple weeks, but it's going to be a little bit different even at Grinding Stone versus Battle of the Goats, since we're title sponsors and we're going to be doing all kinds of media. I'm going to be running around. Like, it's going to be insane. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And Tyler said that like almost every year it's rained, right?
Yep.
So it's going to be super fun to watch the pros and everybody just kind of struggle bus through it. Seeing some of that stuff they're going to ride, I was like, all right, I really wanted to do hard enduro, but I'm like, do I? Do I? No, I'm really excited. Like, it would be cool. That's like my like 3-year goal now. But it's super cool. And then we have another clinic. When we were there, we hashed out another clinic for Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll be going out there. So that's 3 months in a row in North Carolina.
Woohoo!
Which is awesome because I love it out there. I think it's super fun. So
yeah, it's really interesting how the rain changes things over there. You know, I've trained in that slimy clay before, and I love the slimy mossy rocks. Like, I just love it. And I've been spoiled out here in California
with no rain and no cold.
With no rain, no cold, no slime. Because the second we went back over there, I was so excited to go riding in the rain. I was so excited to go riding in the mud and the clay, because you don't get to out here. And I wasn't on my own bike. So that was like, well, if it's not my bike that I have to pull apart and clean all the bearings, why wouldn't I go out there? And it was a shit show. It was not how I remembered it. And it was really interesting because it was a really hard struggle to not get in my head, because I had been on that trail before when it was dry and I flew through it. I loved it so much when it was dry. To do it when it was wet was a nightmare. The whole thing was just side hilling with off camber tree roots at angles and like really sharp up and downs and like corners, and it was messy. It was a whole different ball game. And then the next day it was dry and I took Zach on it. that was also a really fun experience to pass the torch almost. Sam went to go investigate things like Chicken Fight and Lost My Balls and Graham's Gulch and all these like really nasty spots. And I wanted to make sure that Zach had his own kind of hardcore off-road adventure. And he did. He sure did. Sure wasn't what he was ready for.
Yeah.
So sorry, Zach, but also it was cool to go riding with you. So but then we had a really cool, on Friday, we had 2 ladies showed up, and it was really cool because both of them were racers, and they both wanted to talk about line theory and stuff, which is pretty rare. I don't get an opportunity to talk to a really advanced group of riders. So that was really unique in the fact that we got to go out and actually work a feature in the trail. And then I know that 3 gentlemen showed up for the hard enduro day. And there was a really, really cool core group. Like, Brennan showed up and just dominated. He was really cool to watch. He's a 16-year-old kid. He's up and coming, and he was doing some stuff that I would never even want to consider.
Yeah, it was incredible to see him. I was only around that group for the beginning portion. They were in the grass field, so they didn't go out right away. They were like warming up, and Nick was giving them some drills, and this kid was just like, okay, cool. And he would do it immediately. And I was like, whoa.
It was amazing.
In my experience being part of the clinics, people typically don't get it that quickly. But it was just like you told him something, and it's just like it was in his brain, and he was able just to do it. And I was like, what superpower is this? I missed it. Like, I don't understand. What part of your brain? Did you see that movie? It was called like Limitless, where the guy had to like he took a pill and it like unlocked like more than the 10% of your brain. So he was able to learn things like that. And like, he was like super smart. That's what it reminded me of though. I was like, oh my God, like this kid just like seriously took everything. And that's what Nick ended up saying later too. That he just took everything that they said and was just able to do it. He learned some really cool stuff in like 5 minutes. This kid's only been riding for a year. which is insane. He's riding B class in hard enduro now.
Yep.
So it's definitely pretty crazy. I think he's running Battle of the Goats.
Yes, he will be.
So yeah, I will be making sure that we get some footage of that, because that's going to be incredible to see him. I think he said his goal is to win B class this year.
His goal is to win B class this year, and he wants to win Ayresburg by the time he's 25.
Yeah. So he's got a few years of training, but I could definitely see him doing it.
Yeah, the kid's a monster.
Got so much potential, and he's so young. Like that was really, really cool. And he did the crazy big old hill, and he just went like, I barely had time. They were like, "Hey, Angel, go film this," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And I had just put my phone up. I hadn't even hit record, and he's already like almost at the hill. I'm like, "Wait." I was like, "Oh my God." And then he comes down, he's like, "Did you get it?" And I was like, "I honestly don't know." He goes, "Okay, I'll do it again." And then just like turns around, like, "Wait." So, but yeah, I mean, he did it twice, and it was just incredible. And that was after it had been raining all day and like had been torn up by other people. It was just crazy. But yeah, he was an insane kid. Definitely be watching for him in the future. But then Saturday and Sunday, those were awesome.
Yeah, we had
so awesome.
We had 7 people show up.
Yep.
And the same people carried over. So all 7 showed up again on Sunday, and we had 1 new person on Sunday. And it was an incredible group, really incredible group.
Yeah.
We got to do some really, really cool things with them. All of them had light bulbs. All of them had really good moments out on the trail. So it was really, really fun weekend.
Yeah, I think Joe's my hero for kicking over that giant Husqvarna 1,000 times in a day. And it was just like, it was incredible. He scared me a little bit. We were out on his trail ride, and he jumped off of this rock in the middle of the trail, and he got some like good air. And I was like, oh my God. And when we stopped, he's like, "Did you see my jump?" And I was like, "Yes, I did." And he goes, "Yeah, this old guy still got it." And I was just laughing.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Joe he had jaw cancer.
Yep.
And he had some pretty intensive surgeries, a lot of radiation, a lot of treatment for that. And he's still up and kicking. He's in his 60s, almost 70?
Something like that.
Something right along those lines.
Portion of his jaw removed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he just had a great attitude. I think almost everybody had such a fantastic attitude this weekend, and that was what made it so fun. It was just like there was Crystal, who is almost 50, and she's about to retire. She's got 1 year left of teaching, and she is like Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus come to life. Like, she was like in all kinds of colors, and then she put on this helmet, and it had like pigtails that are like multicolored coming out, and oh my God, it was just so cool. She rode all day, both days, with a smile on her face the entire time.
It was contagious.
It was amazing. And she was just like, everything that she was just like, "Okay, well, I don't get this and I don't get that." And she still a smile on her face. She's like, okay, will you just help me with this? Will you just help me with that? And then she would get it, and you would tell, even if she was on the other side of the field, because she'd just go, "Yes, I got it." And it was so cool. Like you said, contagious. It was absolutely just this infectious energy, and it was just so cool. And then we had this guy Steve, and he's only been on his bike for 2 months, I think it was. And so he's really uncomfortable. He was so uncomfortable coming in. We took him on this trail ride, and he had never done anything uphill. He's mostly staying on flat ground, and he did it. He trooped right up it, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, the first day he really struggled with the rock hill, and then the second day he went straight up it, no problem.
It was incredible to watch. And that's what I love about these clinics is, like, I know when I went into it, I was so uncomfortable, and I came out the other side just like feeling amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I can totally do things. Like, I mean, I can't go win Erzberg, but it's a couple years down the road. But you feel just so much more comfortable on the bike and just confident in your ability to be able to critically think through the stuff that you come into contact with.
Yes.
And it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And that was what we saw this weekend. You could see the change in people and see just how, like, even people who thought that they knew what they were getting themselves into, they kind of maybe didn't. And, we're a little bit overwhelmed, but everybody was so receptive and everybody was so cool about it. And just, I think everybody learned something.
Yeah. We did a really cool thing on the topic of critical thinking on the trail. During the women's only, we did a really cool thing, very unique to the situation we're in, just because we usually don't get a group that's experienced enough to do it. But we did one of my favorite things to teach, which is, I call it line selection and obstacle navigation. And for the specific seminar, it was all about like reading the trail and knowing how to pick your lines based off of the visual information you have. And it was such a cool exercise where right around the corner, I had everybody park their bikes right in the middle of the corner before the next corner. And I said, okay, based off of what you can see, your visual information, what line are you going to take and why? And, and they'd all sit there and they'd talk about it and they'd say, well, I picked this one because there's a rock here. I picked this one because it looks a little smoother or whatever. And I would say, okay, take 5 really big steps following the line that you want to take. They'd take 5 steps and then we would talk about it again. Then they would take 5 more steps and we would talk about it. And it was really cool because one student took what I would quote unquote call the hard line, and another student took quote unquote the easy line. And you could see the easy line that she took. The reason why it was an easy line was because she had a wider range of vision, and you could tell the moment she was like, oh, the other one's in trouble, like you could tell, and she could see it 10 steps before the next person could see it.
Yeah.
And that's all just because of like where you position yourself on the trail. So we did some exercises with that and we worked some features, and that was like my favorite moment of the whole weekend, was that specific like seminar of thinking through what you can see on the trail. That was a cool one.
Yeah. I think that was definitely one of my favorites as well. I always think it's really cool though when we start getting into like clutch pops and the people who think that they're not going to be able to do it are suddenly doing it. And then you just see that excitement on their face. I think that's usually one of my favorites as well. So that was pretty cool. But also it was really awesome to see how Nick and Sam interacted out there, kind of being co-coaches. I've seen you and Nick out there and kind of how you guys work together. But I just met Sam a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And so I don't really know him. And I'm still pretty new to Nick too. So it was kind of cool to see how they have like almost this like sign language between each other.
Unspoken dynamic.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And I mean, they're brothers, so they, there's that. But it was kind of cool to watch that and kind of see how like I would be going back and forth like filming, and one of them would be saying something and the other one would have just said almost verbatim that same thing to somebody else. And I was like, this is cool but creepy. But no, it was really cool, and it was awesome to kind of get to know Sam and get to know Nick a little bit better and spend time with my bestie here. And like it was just I cannot believe that this is my job, like it's so cool. And being able to be a part of all of this and get to see these light bulbs go off, like that's so inspiring. And it's just like, and then hearing of course all the stuff that you guys are teaching, it just reinforces it for me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to start working on that. Oh yeah, I need to start working on that. Like, but I didn't take the second level of classes because that wasn't a thing in the beginning of the clinics. So I've learned a lot being part of now 2 of these clinics on level 2. I've learned quite a bit about the progression from what I do know, and the techniques that I learned into what the next step is for me. So that's been kind of cool.
Yeah. One of the really common problems we've been seeing with students who come into the clinics is the struggle with slowing down and trusting the process. We get a lot of pushback when we do the grass drills, and it's really fascinating because they're almost sometimes we get resistance on those drills, like I already know this, I already do it, whatever. So then we never see them practice it when they have the dedicated time to practice it, and then we get out on the trail and they just want to go really fast and they just want to really do the thing. And it's really interesting because you can almost see them go, oh, this is why we were doing that in the grass lot.
Yeah.
Like the second we explain, if you want this to get better, like seat time is not the only answer. It's the right seat time.
Yeah.
Seat time doing the right things that will make your riding better. If you can't do this if you can't pop your clutch, not wheelie, not even lift your front wheel. If you just can't pop your clutch, then you can't get over a downed log.
Yep.
You can't. When you're stuck on it.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Like,
yep.
Yeah, you could back your bike all the way back down and you could battle ram it again as fast as you possibly could. Or you could do what I teach a lot of the women on the first class, which is just slowly get your front wheel over, really feel out where that point is, and then you just pop your clutch really quick to just ram your linkage into the log so that you can teeter over the other side. That way you don't have to sit here and think about like battle ramming things and just like closing your eyes and hoping you make it to the other side. Like there's a process and a technique to it, but if you can't do the simple things that seem pointless on the ground, you won't be able to do them on the trail.
Yeah. And I think that that's like absolutely huge, is that, I took the clinics because I wanted to improve. But I wasn't, I was like, oh, I mean, I'm not the worst rider in the world. And then we started getting into those drills and I felt like the worst rider in the world. And I was like, dang, maybe I am really terrible. But it really did improve my riding like within that first clinic. And I took the clinics over like 3 months. So I did like 1 weekend each month. But I did each one, I learned a lot and I was able to improve my riding. And it was just the confidence that you get knowing the right way to do things versus the thing that a lot of us are told when we first start, which is just send it and pray for the best. First of all, you're gonna hurt yourself. Second of all, you're gonna hurt your bike.
Bike parts are expensive.
Yeah, like let's make this the safest and smartest that we can. So I think that's I just love being a part of it because of all that. I love seeing people, come in and want to really learn the right way to do things and the way that's going to keep them safest. And, if they're racing, going to help them expend the least amount of energy so they can make it through the race.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the biggest thing, because even if you want to go fast, you still need to understand that there's the endurance aspect of the kind of racing and riding that we do. And you're gonna burn yourself out if all you do is hit things as hard as you can and struggle bus. Like you're literally paying us to show you how to do it better. Just listen and like you said, trust the process. Like, I'm very stubborn and I'm very much the same way. And I get weird around like groups of people like watching me do stuff. Like that's something that I've been working on outside of riding in general. But like, that's stuff that I need to do. And, it's not always the most fun, I guess, but at the same time, if it makes you have more fun later, it's that delayed gratification versus the instant gratification. And like, I think we all need to work on a little bit of the delayed gratification, because then, like I said, it's safer. And I know there was a couple times where I had some very close calls and I probably should have broken things either on me or the bike because of the way that I was doing things. So,
well, and like one of the very first drills that we do in the clinics is that we have you just go in a straight line and come to a stop. And you can literally see the whole field go, what?
Yeah.
What? Why are we doing that? Like,
I know how to do that.
That's stupid. We can all come to and the thing they miss is like, no. A straight line. Take off in a straight line and come to a stop. And they're like, yeah, we got that. And then, they do it the first 2 or 3 times and we tell them, okay, turn around and look at your tire tracks. And it looks like a snake came through, and it's like all of the unconscious, subconscious stuff that you need to consider when it comes to like learning and mastering.
I think the thing that gets them is that they shouldn't be going fast. Because they think that if they go faster, then they'll, I'll be able to get through this and get to the next thing.
Yeah.
But we're not trying to make you do it fast. Like, we want you to do it with a specific thing in mind. So,
as Nick says, practice with a very specific outcome and make that outcome happen. Don't stop because it happened by chance or by luck.
yes.
Stop when it's intentional, So like, if your goal is clutch pops, but then you manage to do a wheelie, don't stop because you just did a wheelie.
Yeah.
Like, get the consistent clutch pop.
Yep.
That's what you're looking for.
That's what I was about to say next, is making sure that you're doing things consistently, because that was a mistake that I made when I was practicing on the TTR a lot. It was like, oh, okay, I could do this. And then I was tired. So I was just like, I'm just not going to practice anymore. So,
yeah. So on that note, we're going to be heading to Tennessee next for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Woohoo.
Well, you and I are doing a side quest.
That's right. We're going to Arizona.
Yeah.
We're going to go do some riding in Arizona, see some NAR, meet up with that Cindy from Ned and Cindy on Instagram.
Yep.
Hopefully
some other ladies too. It sounds like at least one other lady, if not two, are going to be there. I'm hoping we can get a whole group.
Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing private lessons in Arizona too.
Yep.
We didn't have enough registrations to do a clinic, but we're going to do private lessons instead. We should probably put that on the website or the Instagrams and say, hey, we're doing private lessons in Arizona if you're
in Flagstaff. So, Yep. That'll be really cool because I've never gotten to ride in Flagstaff. So that'll be really fun. It's a really nice area. Maybe stop in Sedona if we have time, just because it's pretty. You can ride out there too, but I don't know any of the trails out there, so I don't know how much I can do. I know you can do it, but I'll end up off the side of the cliff. But yeah, I'm super excited for that. It'll be like our girls' weekend, get away from the boys and let them work, and we'll go have fun. But then we head to Tennessee. And then after 2 weeks in Tennessee, we'll be hanging out in Chattanooga, and we'll be going to the trials center.
Yeah, so in those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In the 2 weeks, we'll be in Chattanooga. We're going to go to the trials center to check out the TKO course, and we're going to go to Dome Mountain.
Which I hear is pretty rad.
Yeah.
So that's going to be awesome.
I hear lots of things about that. And then we head over to Battle of the Goats.
Woohoo!
Woo! And then we go to Arkansas for clinic and a race. Yep. And then we go to...
Wait, race? There's a race?
Yeah, NEPG.
Oh, yeah.
The Black Buffalo race.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Cool. Geez, all kinds of hard enduros coming up.
Well, it's just a regular... Well, it's
enduro.
It's a medium enduro.
Medium.
And then there's Virginia after that.
Yep.
And then Brushy again.
Well, Brushy and then
Virginia. And then Minnesota for a ladies only camp out, which is really exciting.
That's going to be so much fun. That area is gorgeous. I'm a little nervous that it's May, but the weather's been pretty nice. So I'm just hoping it doesn't we don't get a late snow.
You shut your mouth.
You say it and it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're going to be in Minnesota, then South Dakota, then Minnesota, then South Dakota, then North Dakota, then Wyoming/Montana.
Yep.
So
possibly Idaho.
We like bouncing around a lot, apparently.
Yeah. It'll be a good time though. I'm super excited. I'm going to mark off a whole bunch of new states on my little list. I wanted to do all 50 states by the end of 2025. So we're getting pretty close. With all the places that we're going to be riding this year.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
We got to do a girls' trip when Dirtastic releases their schedule. We'll just...
Iceland? Can we go to Iceland?
We'll put it on the schedule to go to Gold Creek Lodge with Dirtastic.
Oh, yeah, there too.
Yeah.
Like Iceland.
Something like that.
That's supposed to be really crazy. Like I've been talking to riders all over the world, and they're like, "Oh, you live in the United States?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Do you live in Idaho?" And I'm like, "Idaho? Why Idaho?" But people overseas know about Idaho and the riding there. And that's where like everybody wants to come. And I'm like, why Idaho? But then
epic.
Now I've seen a whole bunch of pictures and videos, and now I'm like, oh,
it's epic.
Yeah, but it's epic, but it's also epically scary.
It's epic.
It's like there's a ton of videos that I've seen where it's just like this single track and then the side of a mountain.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's also accurate.
All right, cool. So all right, I have to practice our little hills that we've been on.
Yep.
I gotta do that a lot more.
Yep.
But no, on another note, that's been a lot of fun. Catherine's showing me the ropes of mountain biking. I thought I mountain biked in Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And I didn't do it often, but I did it occasionally. And just the fact that I was on a bike, I don't have a ton of experience on a bicycle in my life in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I like mountain biked for a total of 2 months. And then I maybe did another few weeks after that in the last year because I spent more time on my dirt bike. And then I get out here and Catherine's like, let's go for a mountain bike ride. And I was like, okay. These are like actual mountains, lady. And so, yeah, that's
Google
been fun.
calls them hills.
Yeah, Google calls them hills. Angel calls them mountains, and Angel is right. So
3,000 feet of elevation change is a hill.
It's freaking insane. And I would like to challenge the people at Google, if you're listening, I know you are, come and ride these hills and then tell me if you still want to call it a hill or if you're going to change it to a mountain. That's my soapbox. I'm getting up.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. We're staying active a lot. I think we've been active every single day except today. Well, you jumped on the bike for a little bit earlier, but
I did a thing.
She did a thing, but that's because she's training for TKO. But I went running last night and I got chased by a dog.
And in a windstorm.
So I was running. I was like, I'm going really fast. The wind was pushing me. It was awesome. PR night all over. Going the other way though sucked. I lost my voice this morning. I was like, sounded like a boy going through puberty. But yeah, it's gonna be super exciting, and we've got some downtime in these next few weeks, but it's gonna be training time early.
Yeah,
training and figuring out our lives before we hit the road. I'm super excited for that though. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So on that note, if you want more behind the scenes of what's actually happening with the Leaky Mushroom crew, you want to see all of the inside jokes that have been happening about the clinics, you want to see Tyler's stories, you want to see that video of Tyler warming up on Big Red and Catherine's failures and Angel's attempts at mountain biking, all of that can be found inside of our new reality TV show.
Yes.
Fungi Reality TV. It's on our YouTube channel.
This is Fungi, in case you didn't know.
Yes.
He's also on there.
Yep. Fungi is the LMMR mascot.
He is adorable.
Yep.
And yeah. So Fungi is the best. But yeah, reality TV. First episode's out. Working on the second one. And
yeah, that's about it. Check out our YouTube channel for the full behind the scenes inside look. And
if you guys want super cool sweatshirts like this.
Oh yeah. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it, but the hoodie is epic. You can see it. You can find them on our website, www.leakymushroom.com.
Banners.
Wait, we can do this cool thing on video now. Boom! That's where you can find your hoodies, www.leakymushroommotoranch.com, and then just go to the merch tab.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Yep. And I can tell you from experience now, these things are super warm. This thing I probably wore almost the entire time we were in North Carolina. Sam and I were in our matching hoodies like all the time. It was like, what, an average of 50 degrees?
40
degrees. Yeah, actually, in the rain and everything. And yeah, this was pretty much all I wore, other than like when it was raining, I wore my rain jacket over it. But with these two things, like I didn't need another jacket. It was pretty nice. Even when the heater went out in the trailer.
Yep.
And we had a hole in the wall where I was sleeping. So, but just wearing this over like my pajamas in my poor little sleeping bag, I was warm, and it's so soft.
Very soft.
It's seriously like my favorite sweatshirt.
It's cotton and fleece.
I'm gonna need like 3 more.
We're
wear it
working
all
on
the
it.
time.
We're working
But
on
yeah.
it.
But anyways, highly recommend. And I guess we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah. Until next time, y'all. Au revoir.
Deuces.
Deuces.